with Miami at its best, a lot of strange things, I would say, happened this Thursday in the F1 news world. It all started with a message from Red Bull, very strange message indeed, saying that Max is missing today's sessions, the media day, because he is expecting a baby and he will come back soon. We've known that he's been expecting a baby for a while now, so the communication didn't quite say the baby was born or the baby is being born at right now, so we didn't know exactly what happened. And asking around, a lot of people, they have their own theories about what's going on, but nobody knows for sure, okay, this baby was born and this baby is a boy, this baby is a girl. It's expected to be a girl, but Max has not been telling us a lot of things about this. And by the looks of it, by Red Bull's communication, which said, oh, we're not going to say anything else about the situation, we probably will have to wait until he comes. He is on his way and he will be here for the weekend. But that was just the start. In the press, the media sessions, drivers were talking about police escorts, which is not something you hear every day. So apparently, all drivers had the escorts. Previously, it's because of traffic, to beat traffic. But this year, according to Nico Hülkenberg, maybe the budget went for something else and not all drivers have it. Lewis Hamilton was filmed getting here with an escort, but Nico said he didn't have one, and Pierre said he didn't have one, and Yuki Tsunoda said he did. So we were wondering, what is the cutoff between teams for you to have an escort or do not have an escort? But this is clearly a Miami thing. Something else I noticed, if you walk in the garages, I was there to see the new paint jobs that some cars have for this weekend. Of course, the RB, the V-Carb, the best one by far. The Sauber one was alright, it's just a splash of paint, just slightly different from the normal one. And the Ferrari one I'm not gonna mention. But the Ferrari, when I was at the Ferrari garage, I could see it was Lewis Hamilton's garage. And then if you look where his name would be, it was Ed Sheeran's name. Then I noticed that in front of, on top of every garage, there was an artist. And it's because Formula One is doing a big launch here this weekend of the soundtrack of the F1 movie. And inside the stadium here, in the Miami Dolphins Stadium, there's a whole garage of the Apex GP, the imaginary team from the movie, and a lot of activities. So there are many activations about the movie this weekend here because of the release of the soundtrack, and I heard that there will be a video clip being filmed this weekend here. So again, Miami things happening here at this sixth race of the season. Something else we heard a lot about today was about Sergio Pérez, who isn't here. From what I heard, he's not planning to be here. He is in Miami, but he's not planning to be here. And we've been hearing a lot about him because when I left Europe, the rumor was very intense that he was going to be announced as a Cadillac driver this weekend. Cadillac, they have a big event. It's the team launch event here in Miami on Saturday. And then the talk was that he was going to be announced. But I spoke to some Mexican colleagues that are very close to him and who said, no, he's not. He is here, but he's not going to come to the circuit. He doesn't plan to attend the event, and he is not being announced because he hasn't decided yet what to do. He wants to wait and see what happens with the market. I guess everyone will be waiting to see what Max Verstappen is going to do and how the market is going to react to that if there is a movement from him. So also Checo would be waiting for something, so he would only make a decision on next year in June, July, and not right now. So another thing that was very curious about today, drivers still talking about the FIA, their relationship, strained relationship between the GPDA and the FIA, with George Russell saying, because there was some news during the week that Ben Sulayem was trying to change that rule by which they cannot swear, or they basically cannot criticize anything that the FIA does in the media sessions, and then he was going to relax this. And they were saying it's all politics, really. It's all because it's election year, and we still don't have a place to sit on the table and to discuss things that are important to us. And then Lewis Hamilton, who really didn't want to talk about Ferrari's form, didn't want to give a lot of insight of what's going on with him. A lot has been said about his start with Ferrari after last weekend in Saudi, so he was not in the mood to talk a lot about that. But about this, he said that maybe it's time for the drivers to create a union, because the GPDA is not effectively a union. So try to do something more formal so that they can maybe be more heard when they are in talks with the FIA. Because let's remember, when was it? In October, I think it was, that they sent that letter to the FIA and they never heard anything back from them. So those were kind of the quirky news today here in Miami. About track news, what we know is that Max Verstappen, once he arrives here, he's going to have a new floor, and there are the teams with updates. Even though this is a sprint weekend, and this happened last year as well, teams are bringing updates for sprints now, because now they can change the setup between the sprint and qualifying, so that for them it is just the gain of bringing an upgrade is bigger than the risk of only having one practice session to test it out. But McLaren seems to be really confident for this weekend, maybe more confident than they were in Jeddah, because here there's the last sector is a slower sector, so maybe Red Bull won't be as strong, and also there's always problems with the surface here. It's a bit bumpy, and they tend to deal with all of that better than any of the rivals. Let's see what happens. We're gonna have some answers tomorrow with the sprint shootout, so defining the grid for the sprint, and of course the free practice. A lot of rookies here, not knowing this track, racing here for the first time, and with the walls being really close, only one practice session. So it could be an interesting weekend, and a weekend that's going to be pretty much decided with qualifying. So it's going to be very nerve-wracking, but I think we'll be talking more about that during the weekend, when the news, I think, will become a bit more normal here in Miami.